Let's break the mold and stop waiting for the other shoe to drop. Welcome to Stanley On 7. We're here until it's here.
Welcome back. This is Stanley on 7th, your favorite Wild podcast, a Pull Tab Sports production. Kinger, we've got a special guest right off the bat. We've got some stuff we're going to have to iron out between us, but before we get to it, we've got a great guy in the Wild locker room, very nice guy. Hopefully that he calms the tension between us right now.
Maybe he could mediate. I think we bring him into it at the end.
At the end? Okay, let's do it. Nick Bjugstad. Nick, how you doing, buddy?
Good, guys. I'd like to get involved, whatever's going on over there.
So we got let's dive right into Hockey Day Minnesota. Obviously, it was in Mankato. Yes, it was fantastic. Star of the show. Have you played in a Hockey Day Minnesota before?
Yeah, I have played in 2008. Bought Bay. It was like minus 40 wind chill. It was FSN. I think it was the second year that they did it. And so it was early on, so they couldn't cancel the game, and it was in Baudet Bay. So
that was
the Rosa boys are a little
on a real lake.
There.
Wasn't that on a real lake? Wasn't that on a lake? The only one that they ever played actually on a lake.
Yep. Yeah. Baudet Bay, and it was crazy. And Rosa was one of the better teams in the state. I think they'd won it the year before, or maybe they won the state championship that year. Aaron Ness, Mr. Hockey. So it worked in our favor because it was just hard to play. So we lost 1-0, and just the bus, actually the heat broke down on the bus on the way home. So we all had to huddle up and use each other as heat. It was the craziest deal ever. So
who was your cuddle buddy?
I've been a part of it.
Who was your cuddle buddy?
Let's see. I'm trying to remember. We had, I was sitting in the front of the bus. I was a freshman, so I had I think we're pretty scarce on underclassmen that year, so I think I wasn't involved.
Did you play on Hockey Day with the Gophers or any other time in the NHL that you know of?
Yeah, with the Gophers we did. I think a couple times. And I take that back. I don't even think that outdoor game, I don't even know. I think that was Hockey Day. I'm pretty sure.
I think, it was.
Don't fact check me, but
it was
a couple times.
First one.
And,
it was the one that was
the very
cold.
first one. I think
freezing cold.
Yeah, nice.
I want to know, every kid in the state grows up spending time in your uncle's garage, including probably both my kids. So are you like a stick guy? Do you know all the flexes and are you like a stickophile because of your uncle, or are you just I don't even care. Just give me a Woody, that didn't sound right. give me a wooden stick. Where do you, how into the gear are you?
As far as brand and all that stuff goes, I don't really know the sticks, but as far as flex, kick points, curves, I've gotten pretty picky over the years, I guess. Cards, you probably know, when you're not scoring, you got to blame the stick. So I'll bounce back and forth sometimes on brands just to change it up. But as far as my cousin who's 12 years old, he's asking me about stick brands, and I have no idea what he's saying nowadays. So I think as you get older, you just kind of get used to what you're using and try to stick with it. But you go on a scoring drought, that's when it's time to try something new, because it's never your fault.
Well, that's what I love about earlier this year. You know what you like in terms of your stick, but things aren't going well. So you go back to the college tape job, and then that got you going again, didn't it?
Yeah, black tape. A lot of it's just the psyche. Sometimes you got to change up the knob job, whatever you got to do. But I switched to black tape, and Dumbo was giving me crap. He thought I changed my entire line, my curve. I just changed the black tape, and all of a sudden it was coming off different. So I don't know. I grew up in Scott Bjugstad's garage too, and he knows way more about sticks than I do, and he can pick up on little things a lot quicker. But definitely learned a lot from him.
Is that Metallica Back in Black? Is that who sings that?
AC/DC.
AC/DC, Back in Black. So you just jam out like in his garage when you go back to black tape and just let it rip. Back in Black.
So so start of the season you had white on the blade, and then you were in a little rut and you switched to, what was the change from what to what?
It was white to black, and I think we had a little break where we weren't playing. So I sit next to Kulikov, and he's an interesting character. And he's always switching his tape jobs. So I'm like, you know what, maybe I'll join you. And I just tried it. I liked it. And, I was getting some compliments, so it's feeding the ego a bit. I don't know. Now I'm sitting out for 6 weeks, so I don't know. I might blame the black tape job. So
it's cursed.
I don't know.
It's cursed. We talked about Kulikov and his stick. Was he using Rask's stick? Because he had like the tape. You know how Rask likes to tape his knob like all the way down, halfway down a shaft?
Yeah. He'll try. And I've seen numerous guys do this where they can just pick up guys' sticks. Zuccarello's like that. Played with Evgeny Malkin. He'll grab different stuff, different equipment, just grabbing gloves, whatever. I think sometimes the creative guys just get bored with their stuff and they just want to try something new I don't know. But I don't veer too far from the path. Black tape's about as far as I'm good.
Did you play with Yager?
I did, yeah. I should have thrown his name out there. This guy, he was changing his sticks daily almost. He had like 3 different size sticks, I think, depending on how his back felt that day. But obviously it worked. Tune with himself. He'd sharpen his own skates. He'd be out before pregame, or he'd be out before warm up, testing the ice out, and he'd sharpen his skates accordingly to how the ice felt. So.
Weighted vest.
One of the best all time. So
weighted vest. So when I played with him in Jersey,
after games, weighted vest.
Yeah, when I played with him in Jersey, he would have like 5 sticks, and he would never give sticks away. Like he didn't want people knowing anything about what he did. So there'd be 5 sticks in there, and they'd all be different lengths. And most guys are like they need a laser level to get them exactly the same. And he'd just watch the pre-scout in the morning, and then he'd choose like, oh, I'm going to use stick 3 today, and then I'm going to use stick 5 on the power play, or I'm going to use stick 1, just depending on like how short it was. So he'd watch the D, how they're playing in their D zone.
It's like pairing a wine with food.
He'd be like, oh, this short stick is going to work today. I'm going to play in my feet, and they're not going to have any chance. It's 1-on-1, me versus this guy. And then if it was layers, he'd be like, well, I need the long one because I need a little bit more reach tonight. And it was just unbelievable. Most guys can't do it. He could like on the fly.
He's awesome. He's kind of my, with the hockey hair, he's the one guy I want in the video that I've never been able to get to.
He's tough to get to.
It would be like, that's like having actual Fabio in the video.
So he wouldn't give sticks away. And we make it to the finals in 2012. We lose or whatever. No, that was the following year. I'm playing with him and the season ends and he's got a pile of sticks he's getting ready to toss out. And I was like, hey, Yogs, can I get one of those? Can you sign one of those for my wall? He's like, no. And I was like, come on, please, man. Because Marty was signing one for me. He's like, all right, fine. So I ended up getting one.
You have one?
Yeah. And then when I was building my house, somebody stole it out of the garage. They left all of them except for the Yogs. So Yogs is gone. And whoever you are out there who stole that out of my garage, I know you're listening. Bring it back. I won't be mad.
That sucks. Hey,
it's worth some money probably. I got one sitting at home too. It's personalized. I said, Yogs, I'm not selling this or anything. I just want it at my house. Because it's such his tape job. I don't know if it was like this when you played with him. He took he would saw the end of his stick. Or the end of his blade. It was a square blade. And I don't know. He did some stuff. We'd go to dinner and he'd wear, you're talking about the weight vest. He'd wear ankle weights. He'd have bell bottoms on and he'd wear ankle weights to dinner. So
that guy's an animal.
He'd be slapping.
He's unbelievable.
He'd be slapping a tire, like lift a tire up with his stick and then like slap it against the wall in the locker room. Just to like work on, I don't know, core strength or something.
I love this guy.
Yeah, the weirdest, but it was effective.
Hey, when you're with your friends and family and somebody's like, why aren't you playing? Do you say, I have an upper body injury? Is that the language you use in your own circles of people? Because I hope it is. Are you like, they're like, why aren't you, what are you here?
Yeah.
Well, as you may not know, I have an upper body injury. Is that what you say? Like, is that what your wife thinks you have?
Yeah, she doesn't even know. It's so secretive in the NHL that I have to tell her it's an upper body injury. Yeah, I think they chuckle at it too because they obviously know what's going on. But then people are like, "Ooh, upper body," what is it? Because it could be a lot of different things. But yeah, I don't know. I think at this point I've had enough enough injuries where the family just doesn't even ask.
So speaking of that, have you played with Keith Yandel?
Oh yeah.
So how impressive is it? 965 straight.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I can't even fathom it. And obviously Phil Kessel played with him too, and he's trailing him. It's incredible. I don't even care what kind of style you play as a player. It just comes down to like, how does something unlucky not happen to you? And I'm sure they've gutted through their fair share of dings here and there, but I don't know. It's pretty incredible. And Keith, he's awesome. He's a good friend. Like his workouts in the summer, I really like paying attention to guys like, guys like that, how they're doing it. He works hard. He just works smart. I think he's one of those where he'll get a lifetime, shoot some hoops, do a few curls, hit the sauna, but then he'll go play hockey and like get good at his craft, shinny hockey or whatever. That's kind of his deal. But, not all of us, Carts, I think we've talked about this, can afford to just go shoot hoops and do some curls. But
the executive,
it's incredible. So,
well, he's been documented saying like his first ever workout was like his first pro training camp. Like he had never worked out before, and then all of a sudden he's getting ready to play in the NHL, and they're making him work out.
He's a funny dude.
Can you imagine the soreness? But the second thought I have with that is how nice would it be to have that leash? Like let's say you're at 700 and I don't even know what it might be, but you might have an injury that you'd have to gut through, but you're not going to play that well. Like if you're not at 100%, you're not going to be fantastic, but the coaches are just going to be like, well, you've played 700 straight. So, you have enough equity in the league where we're going to let you stink for 10 games while you heal, but we're going to keep you in there. Like he's like you have
tenure as like a teacher or something.
But, and also think about like the COVID era. We've got to bottle these guys, Kessel and Yandel. We've got to bottle their blood and give that as the vaccine. Because how do you not get hurt? Yeah. You don't catch the Rona. These guys are just pillars of health, and they're actually not. That's the amazing part.
Why get boosted? You should get Yandel.
Exactly. Maybe that's what. Maybe the Chiclets guys are. You know how they do the boosted thing. Maybe that's what it is. It's just they're just yandeling it.
But if you were to cut Yandel to get his blood, maybe he would miss a game.
No, there's no chance.
No,
he probably heals like Wolverine, right like that.
Hey, I got a super important question for you. Okay, and I know it's COVID or whatever, but New York Friday and Sunday games. Hank's getting his jersey retired or something Friday night. Zuccarello's in New York. For sure, green light in Manhattan, right? If they play well,
I hope not, because I don't get to go.
I mean, what? That's got to be right. You got to give it to them. You got to let Zuki run them around.
For sure. And New York, their COVID protocol there is pretty heavy. So I don't know. We actually can't leave the hotel right now.
I don't believe it.
In our rooms or not in our rooms. We have to eat at the hotel. So the answer is no green light.
What if like Hank had like he's playing guitar at the back room of a restaurant that's rented out? For sure. There's no way. I would bet maybe a large sum of money. At least a half a dozen guys are getting out of their hotel room Friday night, win or lose.
Yeah. Or I can't comment on that. I will know. You talk about Zuki being there. I've heard stories about Zuki in New York being almost as big of a legend as Hank. Yandel actually told me they would chant Zuki's name like he was, and obviously he's unbelievable. He's done unbelievable there, but the fans, he was a fan favorite. So it's going to be a good combination, retiring the jersey and having Zuki there. So
those dudes are in the trunk of an Uber and they are getting straight out of the hotel. And I would pay any lump. If that night was in a silent auction, I'd pay $5,000 to go to have Zuki and Hank just winding you through Manhattan. Kirill's behind him in a hoodie. It would just be the best.
That would be fun. So speaking of Rangers, you're a true Minnesota guy. When you were playing in Florida, you bought a Ranger boat, didn't you?
Oh my gosh! Well, you did your recon, huh?
No, we've talked about this before, but run us through this.
I bought a scout boat down in Florida. I bought a center console. But yeah, there weren't many Ranger boats down in Florida.
So tell us about like the paint job and how beautiful it was.
And did it have a name?
I went with all white down in Florida. We had a little mishap with the dealership on the color, but
it's all white. No, he won't admit it. It's Bengal blue. The light blue is what he ordered.
It was Bengal blue.
Are you serious? Did you name it?
I did not order the Bengal blue, but it came back. It was almost like it was destiny.
Oh my God, that's great.
Yeah.
What was the name of it? Did it have a name on the back?
You know what? I never got the chance. I wanted to name it, and then I said I was going to do it, and then I got traded. So,
did you put a number on the back or anything, like your high school number? It has to be.
No. You know what? Willie Mitchell had the big boy. Mine was only 20 feet, so it was like you can't name a 20-foot boat. Willie Mitchell had like 45-foot boat, and his was called king size. He played for the Kings, and then it had the 2 cups on the eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Willie's the man. Willie took me fishing a lot.
That's a flex. It sounds like you were trying to copy it. Did you win a state title with Blaine?
I did not win a state title. Thanks for bringing it up, Cards.
I thought maybe you're going to have the Minnesota State High School thing on there with your baby blue Bengals and put the number on.
Just the ring.
Yeah, no state championships for me, unfortunately.
Can I squeeze in 2 more? Who's on the aux cord for the Wild? Who handles the music, and what do you guys listen to? Do you have a win song in the room?
Yeah, we got a good mixture of guys that get involved. A lot of teams that have been on, it's usually 1 or 2 guys, and I think it's just kind of the mood in the locker room that day. Sometimes you'll get some country boys, sometimes you get some hip hop. Sometimes the Swedes will get involved and play their house music. Every once in a while, Krill will grab it and put some Russian rap on there.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it says to our team that we're kind of we're a group in the music part of the category, I guess. But yeah, I would say Dums is pretty involved before the games. The win song is, gosh. Am I going to have to sing it? Because I don't know.
Yeah, give us some.
Oh, I'm thinking Danza Kuduro, but it's not that now. I haven't been in the room in a minute, but how's it go?
Oh, well, it's not like you guys win a lot.
I'll come back to it.
Yeah, you win every game. You could probably remember the damn win song.
It's almost just like, it's like background noise.
Hey, you've been on a lot of teams. It seems
wow.
What? I don't mean. Wow. No, I don't mean. I mean.
Hey, I'll hit them for you.
I didn't say a lot of franchises. I said a lot of teams. But this group seems to really love each other from the outside looking in, and I think the fan base loves them because they love each other. Is it special or different in the room, would you say? Or, I mean, what does it feel like? Because from the outside looking in, as a Minnesota sports fan, the closest I've ever seen to this is like the Twins once in a while will have a team like this where every little old lady loves this group. Mm-hmm. It seems like this year's edition of the Wild, people are like, yeah, man, these guys are even like the aux cord. The fact that 7 guys mix in is totally the opposite of like a clique or tribes. And is it different?
Yeah. No, it's a great observation. Definitely. I think when you're a part of good teams, that's the biggest thing. Like there's so many good players in the NHL. There's so many good teams. The thing that separates it is kind of how guys gel together off the ice. And then that obviously translates on the ice. And as far as the fan base, picking up on that, I think different personalities in the locker room are so important. Different cultures, and if you're able to kind of integrate everyone and there aren't cliques, like you said, or kind of groups that all kind of tend to stay with each other, I think if everyone's involved, the best team I was on in Florida, that was the same way. There were old guys, young guys, Europeans, Canadians, whatever, but everyone was going to dinner together on different nights, and everyone's working out together, whatever it may be. So that's what creates a good winning culture. It's definitely a fun group. Guys are cheering each other and, just having a good time every day and working hard. That's why you have success in this league, in my belief.
So before we let you go, I want to ask you, World Championships, when we played together, that was the Helsinki and Stockholm. You recall that?
I recall it. Yeah. I was looking at U cards. I think you were trying to remember. You were in New Jersey then, right?
Yeah.
You were in Jersey. Yeah. You had a good tournament. I remember I was a young college kid, so I was kind of scoping out what you did. And you were definitely a pro. I remember you saying you were craving a cheeseburger at the end of the whole tournament because you hadn't had one all year. So that's what I remember about you, how dialed you were. It was a good thing for me out of college to play with a bunch of NHL guys and kind of see how you guys operated. So
yeah, it's not a big deal. I was player of the game when we beat the Russians. It's just Ovechkin and I holding our Tissot watches. Remember that? If you were player of the game, you got a nice little watch. That was fun.
Do you ever wear it? Do you wear it around and let people know?
The battery died on it. I got to get it replaced. But
your mover's wearing it right now.
Exactly. Speaking of cheeseburger, that reminds me. So I'm glad you don't remember this. So after we beat the Russians leave the hotel right away, and we had to switch cities. So we were in Finland, and we had to move to Sweden, Helsinki. So that night, we kind of blew it out. It was the green light. And we're in the bar attached to the hotel, and I'm there with my mom. I walk in, and I see my mom. She's arm wrestling all of Finland. She's got all of them challenged to an arm wrestling tournament. So, and she'd been overserved or she'd overconsumed. So I walked down to the McDonald's, and I ordered, I don't know, it was probably $250 worth of McDonald's. The exchange rate was through the roof, and I think I had to go through 3 credit cards before they'd actually accept one. And I walk back in with a bunch of McDonald's, drop it on the table, try to sober my mom and my sisters up. But yeah, I don't know if I think you were smart and probably avoided that party, but I had my cheeseburger.
I want to arm wrestle your mom.
Yeah, we should get her on the show.
Yeah, right.
No, Carts, I was 20 years old, so I was definitely not there. I was at the hotel room, probably getting some good sleep.
Well, it was a dorm room. It depends who your roommate was. You sleep on, literally, it's basically a cot with a guy breathing on your neck, in the COVID world.
It was a dorm room, yeah. Yeah. Those are really fun tournaments. I really enjoyed that.
Hey, can we get him to weigh in before he goes on our little issue for 1 minute?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got this podcast with Ryan. We've been building it, and he goes on Spittin' Chiclets, right? And he's telling all these stories. He'd taken an Ambien for lunch. Really legendary Hall of Fame stories. And my brother's sending me these clips from TikTok, and I go, "That's a great story." And he says, "Yeah, he's holding out on you." So basically, this is like if Ryan and I were married, and then he comes home, he's got some pink lipstick on the collar, pink Whitney on the collar. He never he never smoked or drank, but he's with Rear Admiral and this and that, and all of a sudden he's, Marlboro Reds, and he's swearing. And then so how do I think his penance is that he has to give this podcast a great story today to get back in good graces with me, or I really feel hurt by it. What do you think, Nick? How do
I can understand that. Carts, I don't know. I think you got to start spilling some more dirt. I think that that's kind of your responsibility I hear on the podcast.
Love the one you're with, Ryan.
Is this intermixed with, it's not Chiclets, is it intermixed with the Wild? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So you kind of got to flirt those lines.
It sounds like, I didn't realize this, but you're making it seem like I have the auxiliary cord and I won't let you play your song.
Listen to what Nick said. Great teams. There's no clicks. Russian rap, Swedish house, it's all a big melting pot. But you got in there with those guys, you saved some aces up your sleeve, you played them, and then I come home and you're just you just eat mac and cheese with me.
You just sound like a little desperate.
Yeah, it hurt my feelings. I want your best, Ryan. I want your best. And so do our listeners.
And you
Yes,
think that was my
exactly.
best? Do you think taking an Ambien
I
for
guess
lunch is my best? I feel like it was my
pretty
lowest.
damn good. You prove it today. You'll pass it. We'll sort this out. I think we're gonna work through it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
you'll
couples
be
therapy.
I have an
Couples therapy.
upper body injury. It's my heart. It's broken. It's broken. Love the one you're with, Ryan.
All right, Bjuggy, where do you have that bronze medal from the World Championships hanging?
I have no idea where it is. I would. My grandma. I think my grandma was holding on to it. She kind of had my memorabilia. She had my Mr. Hockey ring for a while. So I didn't have a house, so she was kind of protecting all my stuff. No one's messing with my grandma. So
It's in his uncle's garage. They test kick points with it.
yeah.
All right, well, we'll keep rooting for red, white, and blue. You said Aaron Ness earlier. He's an Olympian this year, so we'll keep our fingers crossed that he brings home some hardware too. But thanks, buddy. Appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, guys. Thanks for having me. Good
Awesome.
stuff.
Good luck the rest of the way. Hey, Ryan, we got a sponsor, and I wonder, do you think Bjuggy's ever been arrested, fired, or injured?
All of the above. Can't you just tell?
He seems kind of mischievous.
Well, he's been injured for sure.
Yep,
He's
upper
got an
body.
So who's he got to call?
I would call, well, there's a lot of people you could call, but if I found myself with an upper body injury, I would reach out to wachtlerlaw.com, WACHTLER law.com. 25 years in the business, fiercely independent and afraid of no one. So Nick, if you want to, I guess, I don't know who you would sue. He got hurt in practice.
Zuki?
Oh, no. That could be bad for team chemistry. So maybe let's leave Bjugstad out of
Till the
this.
summer.
Wait till the summer. Call Wachtler Law, upper body injury. He'll take care of you.
So should we get right into couples therapy? Because you're really butthurt about this.
Yeah, a little bit. You know, it's funny. I haven't listened to it yet. Did you listen to the whole episode?
No.
This guy before you, this jackass from Edmonton, this news reporter,
Yeah.
you have
I
to
don't think he's a
listen.
news reporter.
I think he's a beat guy, or is he a TV guy?
I think he's a radio guy.
So for other people who listen to Chiclets, so he would do this thing, and he would go, you have to listen to it because it's so damn funny. And I know if you were to talk to Biz or Whitney about it, like, so he would go, he had a blowhard voice. He'd go, well, Biz, you know, you didn't even have more than 10 goals in juniors the whole way, but you ended up cobbling together a pretty decent NHL career because you worked hard. You know, so he would be like this backhanded,
Like building him up, but cutting him down
my
at the
God.
same time.
And you could tell throughout the interview, it was like, this dude is such, I think what they did is, your interview is so good. They tucked this blowhard in right before you, and they strung him out because they knew they had gold with you in the ice house deeper. But you have to listen. The unintentional comedy, even the way the guy's voice sounds, like I would never tweet like, hey, you know, stay hot. But like Chiclets memes should do a video of cuts of all the like backhanded compliments the guy does.
I haven't listened to it, but it's one of those things where it's like okay for Whit and Biz to tease each other about terrible careers or not being good players or something like that, and they can do that, but have somebody else say it to you, it's like whoa, settle down a little bit. Like, is that what it was like?
He goes,
they can talk about it, but
so for Whitney, he goes, Ryan, actually, your first year in Edmonton, you were very good, and then you got injured, and you were never the same. And, which is like, I think Whitney would agree with that, but it's like,
but he can say that.
Holy crap! At one point, Biz goes, "I guess it's Rip on Biz Day," and like it wasn't like funny. It was like, you know, the second they hung up with that guy, or they were like, so listen to it. It's funny. It's right before you. It's classic.
Okay. Anything else we need to hash out about it?
Well, no, it was a great story though. That I've never taken an Ambien.
Yeah. So I at that point,
Have
I
you
hadn't
taken it? Like,
I'd never
did you
struggled
do
to
it a
sleep.
lot in your career after that?
Should we hash this out? Yeah, no, I couldn't sleep. I never had. So my nickname in junior, Josh Hansen, who I played with, he'd call me Narcsy because I could fall asleep and power down at any point. Like I didn't have a care in the world.
But that pill is like, what happens if you take an Ambien?
You fall asleep.
For how long?
Well, there's different ones. I don't even, like I said, I don't know which one it was. They have controlled release and then they have the regular, but it's 6 to 8 hours and you're
But
out.
it works.
Yeah.
It's like NyQuil or something.
It's NyQuil on steroids.
It was a great story. That's the only one I've heard so far. I got to get into it, but it was really good.
So,
and the fact that the guys on the bench were helping you out and just all of it. just Hall of Fame.
Yeah. And again, not in the right way. But no, so you take an Ambien, and I never had an issue sleeping. So all of a sudden, it was like the first experience of my life.
I thought it was just like a Happy Meal packet and you just popped it.
Yeah. And I'd never had issues sleeping. So there was no reason I would ever have had to take one, but I had one. And it was just in a little white envelope. It could have been expired for all I knew too, right? But boom, pop it and that's it. Lights out.
Has Bettman reached out to you since you told that story?
No, who cares? So the other part is like, I think it's hilarious that for some reason my mind goes to thinking that 5-hour energy is like, if I get solid 10 of them, 10 hours of energy, it'll offset it.
That was an underrated, I forgot about. That was a great part of the story, was that it was like the weighted scales.
Yeah.
You were like Ambo, and then you're like, so if this is going to make me sleep for 10 hours, if I just take the 2 5-hour energies.
That's honestly how I was fighting it in my head.
I want to arm wrestle your mom so bad.
I was 20 hours of energy in, and I missed Seabrook by a country mile.
Yeah, that was great. If you want to hear the story, listen to one of our competitive podcasts, Spit and Chiclets. It's a very good story.
Oh, wow.
It is. It's a great story. It's a great story.
I don't think they're competing with us.
No, they're not. They're not. It's a 4-hour podcast, by the way. Holy shit. I listened to it all. What does that say about me? I mean, they're so long.
Yeah.
Imagine you had a 4-hour one of these.
That'd be impressive. But they cover a lot of stuff. You know,
everything.
Yeah, and they do their interviews are non-topical, so they're evergreen.
Yep.
And then they get an hour into stuff that is topical, and then they release that, and then they've got. So I mean, it makes sense.
Well, you did a great job. I mean, from what I've seen so far, it's like Timberlake hosting SNL. You're one of the great Chiclets guests. That's good.
Idiot, no.
I'm serious. I'm complimenting.
You know how I battle anxiety now, and I had anxiety because I was all over.
Crushed it.
I was all over Randy Carlisle too.
Yeah, I haven't got to the Carlisle stuff.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you, when you got done with the interview, were you sort of like, shit?
Yes.
Okay. Like I know what they want, and I gave them a lot.
It's not what
I wish I could wind it back.
It's not what they want. It's just getting after somebody. That's a zero-sum game, right? Like, it's not like I could settle a score or anything like that. I just feel bad because I just wish at one point during the podcast I would have said something like, "Hey, let's." Just remember this too. Like Randy gave me my chance, right? Randy,
well, guess what? You're doing that right now.
Yeah. So now it's
on our podcast, baby.
So he gave me.
So why don't you say
some
nice things about Randy Carlisle?
Well, that's it. He gave me my chance.
That's worth its weight in gold, though.
Yeah,
especially for a guy like you. All you need is a chance.
And same with the Ducks, and same with Bob Murray and Brian Burke and all those guys. I mean, I love Burke. I always have. I don't think Bob Murray was a big fan of Ryan Carter, just like Randy Carlisle wasn't. But that doesn't make them bad people, right?
Yeah.
That's okay. If you don't like me as a player, that's cool. The issue I had is that I think you didn't treat me like I was a normal person, right? You could have said, I don't like you as a player. And I've been like, cool, I understand, but you don't have to be a donkey. But at the same time, it's like, well, I need to look at it from a different light and say, hey, you had a job to do. You wanted to do it. That's cool. You thought that's the best way. I disagree with it. And when I think about me being anxious about how it came across or how I said it, that's what I think is, I don't have to be okay with everything that happened.
Well, you're a nice guy.
I appreciate it. You trying to pump me up?
No. I'm serious. I care what everybody thinks too. I wish I didn't. I'd like to have a little bit more of like not worrying. Like it's okay if 12 people dislike you on the planet.
Right.
Even if I dislike a person, if they dislike me, it still bugs me.
Yeah. Like
I would like go out of my way. I saw this wife of a guy I know at the health club the other day.
Yeah.
And I kind of like waved at her, and she gave me this look like, she kind of smirked at me and gave me this look like, I hate you so much. And I think it's maybe from something I did in the past or whatever, to the point where when I see her husband at the health club, I'm going to be like, hey dude, does your wife wish I was dead? And I don't even know her. It doesn't matter. But like, it's like, I've been thinking about it a lot. Like a stranger that gave me a weird look.
I always do that though. But then the truth is probably that she's like mad at her husband mad as hell at her husband, and he's friends with you. So then she just hates you because of that. Just for being
I'm gonna
friends
get
with
to the bottom of it. I'll after arm wrestling with your mother, I'll come back. Hey, you want to do mid-season awards?
him. Yeah, okay. Let's do this. So we're gonna do it 2-part. This is part 1.
Yes.
And this is kind of non-player related. We'll go through
It's just
like
kind of
MVP, unsung hero, stuff like that. After the New York series, after the green light.
after 41 games.
Yeah, we don't want to be premature. We want to see after this New York green light how these guys perform before we give the mid-season awards. But in terms of other stuff, so let's hit it with the topic. So
That's such bullshit, by the way, that they're not going to go out in New York.
yeah,
You would have to put an ankle, what do they call those ankle things, on Zuccarello. You can't tell me that he's flying around.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know where they're staying. And honestly, I would say like once upon a time that there is a chance that yeah, absolutely, you sneak out the back door of the hotel, but that's not as important to guys anymore. And I don't know if they'll go out. I don't know if they can. You know, a lot of times, I mean, to get right down to it too, a lot of times it has to do with the hotel. How many entrances, how many exits?
Yeah.
You know, can you sneak out?
I had one NHL-like moment. The sister of Antoine Roussel worked at the ad agency I worked at in New York. And so we went to see him when he was on the, what team would he have been on? The Dallas Stars at Madison Square Garden. And after games at MSG, you've probably did this 100 times. You walk out that ramp.
Down the ramp?
Down the ramp. All the guys are there. So when I walked out with him and his family, and you see Vinny Lettieri was on the Rangers. You see these guys walking, and you just walk right to the street in downtown Manhattan.
Yeah.
And like hail
You're in
it
it.
and hail a cab.
Right.
It is like Batman shit. The fact that like Henrik Lundqvist walks down that ramp and disappears into the city. It is so cool and so New York. Did you do that? You know what I'm talking about? It's like that parking
It's
ramp.
5 stories.
And then you're just boom.
You're
up in the city.
You go up the hill and your legs
Yes.
are burning.
Yes.
You're absolutely dead. You go down and like your shins hurt because it's like you're trying to brake the whole time. And it's a long walk.
It's so cool though.
But
How
then
you
you-
just blend.
It drops you out and then you walk 10 yards into the street and then you are literally in Manhattan.
Gone.
Yes.
Like Panarin, just poof.
yeah.
It's so cool.
Fart in the wind.
What's your first award? You got
You
something?
you go with your first award. So
I want to give the championship belt award to Mean Dean Evanson. This elbowing the glass on the boards, like destroying his assistant coaches. Like at some point, I bet if Dean came in with a little piece of rubber hose, like Darby would be like, no, like Dean, let's not do that after we win. I mean, he is so intense. I just love it. It's like he's a wrestler, like a pro wrestler.
the best is the camera guys now know too. I think the TV guys, as soon as the game's winding down, OT, they usually have an ISO on a player. Like they'd rather not have the ISO cam on Kirill, despite the fact that he's probably going to factor in on any OT win. They want it on the bench so that they can see who gets the headlock, the elbow,
The hug.
Yeah, what depends, right?
I mean, and we saw him. He gave spurs to Darby Hendrickson had spurs on the back of his skates from Dean. And what Darby told me is that Dean wore those spurs on his boots when he drove a motorcycle into a locker room at some point when he was coaching at a lower level. Who is this Dean Evanson? He's like a character out of the WWE.
Yeah. What's also crazy though, when you think about it, like he's so happy, so juiced after they win.
Oh my God.
But then all of a sudden the post-game presser, cool, calm, collected.
Yeah.
Tie.
Great suits.
Yeah.
Color
good.
combos.
Yeah. Always says like the right thing, inclusive guy. I think behind closed doors, they have a lot of fun. And clearly,
Yeah.
they do. And it's not like, ooh, we don't want to include people, but I think and Dean does a really good job at this, like creating like and this is a cliche, but a family environment. Like, hey, what goes on in this house stays in this house, and we're gonna have fun, and we're gonna go out and take care of business on the outside. But I think he does a great job of that. But yeah, and he doesn't like the attention. I don't think of
No,
but he can't hide it. I think he would stop. He can't stop.
yeah, he's great. I want to give an award to our best goalie. The empty net. What's our goal differential with the empty net?
I think we have
Plus 12?
I think we've given up one empty net, off the top of my mind, that I can recall, and it was Florida. But we had the Wild had scored first, and then eventually they scored an empty net. I might be wrong, but I think we've given up one, but it was after we got close again.
We should consider playing one period without a goalie.
That was going to be my award, is like the storyline there. There's a lot of magical things that are going on, but when it comes to the goalie pole situation, and I think the Wild lead the minutes with empty net by a country mile, like legitimately. I
think they have 12 empty net goals, 11.
Yeah, but I'm talking total time. So you add the total time. They've got like 50 minutes.
It's like 4 games.
Yeah, they've got like 50, 60 minutes of empty net where nobody scored. I don't understand how it's possible. And somehow, like, there's like a Jedi out there that gets the opposition to panic every time they touch the puck and turn it over. And then as soon as the Wild throw it to the net, boom, it's in the net. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I love it. They are special. So Wild fans have just started texting me the word special.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only way. I do want to get into some anxiety I have about the normal Minnesota sports stuff in a minute, but I guess my other award.
Let's get last award, and then I want to go that route too.
I want to go buddy cop movie with Kirill and Zuccarello. When I see the two of them sitting on the bench together, I just laugh. It's like he's a Joey in his pouch. I mean, it's like, and I know Zuki's like taller or shorter, but like there's something about those two, man. I just laugh. It's like frickin' frack. I haven't really seen a relationship like that. And when they're sitting on the bench and they show them on Bally's, and it's just the two of them sitting there, it's funny. I don't know what it is,
and how consistent it is. I think you look at Zuccarello, and I've never played with him, but people love playing with him. And everybody says he's a great teammate.
Yep.
And I think he does things for the right reasons. He says the right stuff post game, whether you win or lose. Like he knows he's got the right messages, everything. But when he came here, he caught a bunch of heat. Remember that deal? It was too big.
Yeah, and he was old.
That's going to hamper us. He's small. He's slow. And he has not cared one bit about any of that, right? And just has gone out and played. And now he was hurt. He had the wrist issue, and the numbers maybe weren't there. I think it was the first year. But all of a sudden, Kirill comes along, and he still hasn't like changed. He's just kind of gone about his business. And I really think that people have learned to respect and like that about him. Like, he's still the same dude. It's just we're appreciating him a little bit more than we did in the past. So shame on us a little bit for not like accepting him for who he is right off the bat and seeing like the good in him. It's always like, why can't you? And again, that's why I hate. Like, I kind of sometimes get rattled with sport talk radio. Like I flip it on today, and they're still talking about the football coach being fired, and it was 3 weeks ago. And they're trying to pinpoint like what went wrong, why this was a bad thing. It's like, man, there are some special things going on. Like, why not try to figure out? And if you could put your thumb on what's going on in that Wild locker room, I think it's a massive conundrum, right? Like, if somebody could, boy, they'd bottle that up and sell it and be filthy rich, right? But it's fun to try to figure out, like, how are they doing this? Because on paper, you talk about it too. This is a point of anxiety a little bit. You've got Hartman and Foligno that are having career years. And not only career years, they're absolutely blowing it out of the water. And is it sustainable? And part of the reason that we have the podcast is because we don't want to like have to doubt that thing. Like, that's not the mentality. That's not the thought you want. But at the same time, how long can they keep it going? And what are your thoughts?
It's astonishing. So Foligno's most points in a season was 25. That was last year, which was also a short season.
Correct.
He already has 26. Hartman's most points in a season, 31. He already has 32. And we're not even halfway through the season. This is insane stuff. So you're telling me Hartman might have 70 points?
They double up.
When he's never had more than 31. You're telling me Foligno might have 63 points, never had more than 25? Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's like exponential.
Now, yeah. And the one thing I will say, though, is I do think that a lot of players experience that. Very few come out of the gate like Kirill and have a point per game and then maintain it. It takes some people a little while to figure it out, and then you see like this massive jump in like statistics and points, and then they can maintain it because all of a sudden opportunity comes to it. Like they've never been on the power play before.
Yeah.
And I think the power play helps you get some points, but it helps you touch the puck too. So all of a sudden now you're feeling the puck and you believe you've got a chance to score tonight, and you're not gripping the stick when you do get the one shot because you know, hey, I got the power, or I'm getting my touches, I'm feeling good. And we've seen them make plays that we haven't seen them make before. And some of that comes with the confidence of being on the power play and stuff. But yeah, it's the jump, and at the phase of their career that they're at, the jump is pretty remarkable and good for them. But if they can continue to do it through the rest of the season, they'll have basically erased the glass ceilings of them being a third and fourth line guy. And now they'll be power play guys from here on out, but it takes the execution, but they're doing it.
And credit to Dean and Billy. A lot of it's just giving these guys the opportunity that maybe they haven't had before.
But picking the right guys.
Yep.
Like they're not just given opportunity. They're picking guys, giving them the opportunity, fostering it, fueling it, the hunger, their desire, and then they're executing on the other hand for the coach, for the team, and they're doing it the appropriate way, right? Like it's not a negative. Like sometimes you'll have guys that are out there cheating performance, scoring a bunch of goals, but they're even. Like Ryan Hartman's leading the league in plus minus, like it's astonishing. But with that said, now there are rumors going around that the Wild may be buyers at the deadline.
Be careful. Be careful. We got something special in the cake mix. I do think you could add maybe one player.
I think the culture has
Don't
enough,
trade anybody away though.
Yeah.
You just got to add one.
right, has enough strength to bring it in. Like you think of, I think of Dewar, Boldy. You can even go Addison. These guys, they come in and they play well right off the bat. Whatever is going on in there, people come in and they just feel good, play good. They're better. I think you can even look at Goligoski's numbers, like veteran guys. It doesn't matter. People are just playing better, right? So I think that they can get somebody and bring them in, and it's not going to be a cancerous situation. It's not going to be Hansel or one of those guys where you trade it and then all of a sudden the team goes the other direction, right? I think that the culture is good enough and strong enough where it can accept it and then take it in the right direction. But yeah, the scary part is, what do you have to give up to get some of these marquee players, and does it change absolutely everything?
I saw Jordy Ben. Somebody was telling me he had a quote, when everybody gets back, Brodeen, and he's like, I'm the odd man out here, but this team is just so awesome. I'm just happy to be in the margins riding with him.
Yeah.
And he will be a playoff guy for sure. That big beard and scrums, and he'll matter when we get into some rugged stuff. But I love just that mentality of like, hey, I'm looking at the math here. I'm probably the odd man out, but I'm still happy to be, in the overhead compartment of the airplane. I'm just happy to be a part of this.
The difference is, I think you look around and you read the clippings from around the NHL, and you do see that stuff from time to time. Players say it, but you don't actually believe it, right? Or you think, okay, well, he's just trying to say the right things. I don't. When I read that out of Jordy Ben, it's truthful, and I think he actually means it. Like, yeah,
it's a weird quote too.
Yeah,
I
like,
mean, it's pretty cool.
I'm the odd man out, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah,
and he legitimately means it. It's genuine. How
special? So here's my anxiety, and I don't know why I'm already thinking about this. It's not about 40 games in 77 days, what everybody's talking about, or finding a center at the trade deadline. It's winning a playoff round. So I'm already thinking about if we get bounced in the first round. And part of that's the Twins parallel of like the lovable group of guys that love each other, and then they play the Yankees and they're done in 3. We have to win a playoff round this year, at least one. Or it's like dating a girl for 7 years and you don't marry her. All of it, none of it ever mattered.
Yeah.
Is that? I mean, that's a little harsh, but like,
no, I think you're absolutely right. I think you look back on the era that I played through the, it's unfortunate. I don't want to pin on these guys, but the Parisi Suter era, really good teams.
Yep.
Just couldn't couldn't get past the hump, right? And you don't want to be the ones where they're like, okay, we got to move on from this core. We've got to change it, right? And I think it starts with the playoff win. There's no question about it. Like, all this will be for naught if they don't win. I think they know that.
And even one round, not to be a total wuss, but like, I'm fine if we won one playoff round. I need to get, and I want to win the cup. That's why we're doing this podcast. It's embarrassing that the state of hockey has never won a Stanley Cup and no one talks about it. But we have to get, we have to win a playoff round.
So the listenership to our podcast is broad and big. And we've started this message where you've got to believe in stuff, and it coincides right with the success of the team. Do you think Stanley on 7th has influenced a lot of people into believing, into winning games, into not giving up goals without a goalie in the net?
I think if you say it, like if we were playing Nashville in the first round and I said, yeah, they don't scare me at all. I just see us rolling through them. Even if in the back of my mind, I don't know if I believe that, when I say it,
Makes it real.
it feels good and it manifests.
Yeah.
Like I think there's something to that, where it's like, that's why I like Rat from Beer League, where he's just like, yeah, man, get used to it. This is what we do now. It's almost like there was a spell on us, but now it's over. And like, hey, you're going to want to watch this because now it's okay to hope and dream and believe because it's not going to hurt at the end. Like, get in here. I don't know. Let's go all the way. I don't want, if we win the cup though, we have to stop the podcast. We're here till it's here.
We'll just rename it.
Okay, good.
The
thinking.
parade.
Good thinking. Yeah, the back to back.
So, hey, did you brush your teeth today?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And
So
flossed.
we can kiss and make up off camera today. But hey, it's been fun. Any final thoughts from you?
Yeah, I need a little closure on Hockey Day, Minnesota.
Okay.
You played Bacchus. Did you win or not win? What was your stat line? Like, overall experience. Now it's coming to White Bear Lake, so you're like the Pat Maroon of Hockey Day. I mean, this is like, you're the guy. Like, you're back. Like, wow, he's everywhere. Can you give me a little on Hockey Day, Minnesota?
Yeah, it was fantastic.
It looked great. The
Yeah,
snow.
it was great.
Cambria VIP.
I think Mankato made a lot of really good decisions. There were a couple sites I'd gone on the site visits, and the other spots I think would have been beautiful, but to be that close to campus, to have the stands there, the football stadium, they had parking. So like logistically, a lot of stuff was just great, and it was fluid. The buildings were there. So they depicted and portrayed the campus, the school, the hockey program, Mankato's youth hockey really well, and all of Southern Minnesota. They showed up, they celebrated, they had fun, the team played well. The Mother Nature did her part, so that was a lot of fun, and it was great. White Bear Lake, it's crazy, but it's like, okay, well, it's going to be tough to, compare yourself to that. You don't have 4,500 students or 5,000 people that sell out every game going to the Division I game, so there's a lot of stuff there that's going to be different for White Bear. But yeah, to have the students there, I thought the band playing was awesome. It had a nice element to it.
Foreplay.
Yeah, the alumni were fun. Like, it was good to see a lot of the guys come back too, and I think some of that has to do with the success of the program. That they're really good. I saw Jutz for the first time in like 15 years. He was my coach, so that was great. Bacchus was the number one star of the game.
Really?
Yes.
So he did what he said. Did he go hard?
No, he didn't go hard.
Okay. Did anyone go hard?
It just came easy to him. No, I did. I got stuck in the mouth though. That sucked. I got to go to the dentist. Chip in my mouth. I don't know, somebody on the purple team.
Let's see.
Right off a face off. I'll show you after. Tell. It's not good for radio. But yeah, David made it look easy. I think he had a goal and 2 assists, and
really?
It was just like piece of cake. We lost 6-5. We hit a posting out with like 10 seconds left. But yeah, no, I tried to turn it up in the final 10 minutes. I just didn't have the gas.
Was it awesome? Was it like a high school reunion mixed with, like, how fun was it just socially?
It was fun. But the one thing I will say is I think there was some strategy to it in terms of the local organizing committee. So they had an alumni welcome dinner on campus.
Okay.
Purposefully starting at 5. So the game started at 8. And they were like, hey, we want everybody there at 5.
To keep you under control?
Yes.
So you were being sort of
managed.
Yes. And you can tell, hey, did your mom go down?
No. She was like, I want to watch my son play one last time. But my middle daughter had a tournament at Meister's in Scandia, so she went.
Is your mom like a badass?
Kind of.
She sounds really cool. Yeah. I'd like to get to know her. We got to have her on the podcast too. Yeah. Well, thank you guys. This was good. Bjuggy, upper body injury.
Upper body.
This is Stanley on 7th.
We're here
till it's here.